Good morning. It's Thanksgiving morning, 2015. This is Big Vanilla bringing his very first Big Vanilla holiday podcast to his friends and to their friends. I have made a few podcasts before, and I found them to be really strange because it's hard when you're sitting in your room by yourself speaking to an image of yourself on your computer screen, not to be a little bit psychologically unnerved. You seem to be a little bit insane. And I'm trying not to do that, but it's creeping up on me anyway. Today, I would like to share with you my experiences with the New Standards Holiday Show. If you know who the New Standards are, they're kind of a chamber rock group based here in the Twin Cities. Chan Poling is, I don't know if he's the leader, but he's the guy I always talk to. He was the leader of the Suburbs, the kind of innovative, kind of new wave band of the 1980s here in the Twin Cities. I was at a Christmas poetry reading at the University Club on Summit Avenue. This was in 2014, I guess. Maybe 2013. Yes, it was 2013. And I had a good night, and I decided to come out and just read very short poems that were kind of funny. And so I had this stocking with me. It's a holiday stocking. I'll try to get the shape of the stocking there for you. And I was wearing this hat, and I was wearing this kind of holiday trim on it. And I stepped in front of an audience of maybe 110 people. It was the holiday show at the University Club. And it was a big deal, and everybody was good that night. But I kicked ass, and I'm not sure why it was. I had a format that was so simple. I just came out, I didn't say anything, and I reached into this stocking, and I took out a wadded piece of paper, see, wadded piece of paper, unfolded it, read it, and people enjoyed it. I don't even like this poem, but here's one. This is How Can I Miss You If You Don't Go Away? Well, that was the luck of the draw. It was the one that was in the stocking. But people liked it. I got applause. And then I would drop it to the floor, so it would be like I gave up on it or something. And if you don't know it, I'm kind of deaf. And a man came up to me during the intermission and said, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." I don't know what he was saying. There was too much noise in the room, and I didn't really hear him. And I said, yeah, that's great. Nice to meet you. Have a nice holiday. And as I turned to walk away, my friend Dara Sirkin said to me, "Don't you know who that is? That's Jan Poling." And I did know who Jan Poling was, although I'd never seen him in concert, but I had his Suburbs double record and thought they were fine. And I did, and Dara said, "And he was inviting you to the to perform in the holiday show." And I said, "Really?" Now this was like December 3rd, and it seemed like it was kind of late to do a holiday show in 2013. And sure enough, what he had in mind was for me to perform. Let me adjust this a tiny bit so I'm in the middle of the screen. To perform the following Christmas. So I had all year to essentially replicate the act I did at the University Club. And I was quite nervous about it. I wanted it to be as successful as that event at the University Club was. But I did come up with a handful that I thought were pretty good. And I'll tell you, as a poet, we get big audiences. Usually the only people in the audience are other poets with their poems in their laps, and they're thinking about how they're going to read them. They're not thinking about you very much. So this was an unusual opportunity to speak, to have the microphone in front of 3,000 people. 3,000 people at the State Theater. And that was kind of a big deal. And I went all year long. I practiced and weeded out the poems and got the ones I liked. And then I went to the show the following December in 2014. And everybody was so kind. Everybody in the show was some Twin Cities rock hero. There were people from Starfolk and Craig Finn and all kinds of people that I was kind of aware of. They're all much younger than me. As soon as they saw me, I had a beard and I was wearing a tweed jacket. I looked like a cartoon poet. That was part of the shtick. But they were all so kind, and I thought musicians are really nice people. You know, poets. I thought they were sort of the norm, but I'm increasingly inclined to think that poets are a little stiff, and not always as generous as I found these musicians to be. I think it's because music is more fun. I think that's why the deal is. Anyway, I did the show, and I'm about to read the 4 or 5 little tiny short poems that I did for the New Standards show. And may you enjoy them. I step up to the mic. I look like an old bum. I've got the same stocking, giant stocking. It's hard to move things around here. Giant stocking, and I start pulling out these scraps of paper. I printed them out in like 22-point type so I could take my glasses off. And so you get the full beauty of my face without the interfering frames. But I can't do that now. I need the glasses to read the poems. But here I am. I'm at the mic, staring out, bright lights. It's an amazing feeling. If you've ever stood in front of those people and you hear them laughing and clapping, it's life-changing and probably in a very corrupting way. But here's what I read to them in December of 2014, 1 year ago, next week. I came out and I said, I have some holiday advice for you. This one is about financial planning, financial resolutions for the new year. If you can set aside a small sum, even as little as $5 a week, and you invest it in an interest-bearing account, and you keep adding to it week after week without fail. After 30 or 35 years, you will be amazed at how little you have saved. That's actually an adaptation of a funny essay by Elbert Hubbard in the 1920s. But I brushed it off and fixed it up. Here's the next one. I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus underneath the Christmas tree. 57 years later, I still see my therapist every Tuesday and Friday. This next one, the title of the poem comes at the very end for strategic reasons. He seemed a cheery soul with his stovepipe hat and corncob pipe, standing on the terrace on Ashland Avenue, until you saw his eyes and mouth were made from frozen sticks of dog poop. And the title of that poem is The Abominable Snowman. At that point, I whip out a little spray can, and I hold it up to the audience, and I say, this is our commercial break. Aerosol tears for today's sad person on the go. And finally I said, well, that's all I have for you. That's all I have for you this Christmas. I'm going to send you out there. Have a good one. And I want to urge you, don't give up on your dreams. Keep sleeping. Good night, everybody. And it was quite successful, and people came up and congratulated me as I left the stage. Chan Poland gave me a fist bump from the piano bunch, and I felt good about myself. It was I was an old guy that went out there and I fought the law, and the law didn't win. So, having done that, and it was the funnest thing I ever did in poetry, I kind of wanted to do it again, and I wanted to somehow bond with these three great guys, the new standards, and perhaps be indispensable. And maybe they would invite me back. So I would send them gifts and trinkets and jokes and like them on Facebook, all those sincere things that we do to bond with people. And at a certain point, I think maybe 6 months later, I asked Chan directly if he would have any interest in having me on again. And very casually and not formally, he said, "Sure, that would be great, Mike, let's do it." So I thought, yes, I'm going to do the New Standards show again. And then I found out that my mind was peculiarly locked. I couldn't come up with, 3 minutes, 2 minutes even, of great, short poems, one-liners. So I sweated it. I talked to Klecko, and I would scour the internet looking for joke premises that I could develop into these kind of funny haiku-type poems. And so he heard all of the awful ideas, which I will not read for you, but I agree with him, they were awful. Until I was able to either cull from other sources or write from scratch the following poems that I was to read this year, that I was to read next Saturday, December 4th and 5th, and Sunday. I will read them in a moment, but I have to tell you the bad news, which is I found out about a week ago that although Chan had agreed informally to have me back, they decided as a group that, no, let's have some variety and not get stuck doing one poetry thing. And so they're doing sort of an audience participation poetry thing, which I think will be fine and may even be more suitable for the feeling of the New Standard show, which is kind of zany and young and Christmassy, and it's a wonderful show. Too late for you to buy tickets, but anyway, I'm not in the New Standard show this year, and it's kind of hurt me. I feel kind of wounded. Last year they filmed the whole thing, and I even knew the young man who was the directing the film, and I thought, oh boy, this is going to be on National Public Radio, or Minnesota Public Radio at the least, and I remember sitting up in front of the TV waiting for the show to start, and remembering some of the shows, but then they got to the place in the show where I was to have been, and instead they jumped from the singer before me to the singer after me. I had been excised from the footage, which just makes sense because the show was like 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and the TV program was only 60 minutes long, so something had to give, and I think I was a pretty logical candidate for deletion. So I got it edited out, so the fame that I thought was going to befall me did not befall me, and I was kind of crestfallen, sad old man, but this year I had no such expectations, but I thought I would be in the show, but I'm not. But these are the poems that I would have read had I read, and I haven't worked them up quite as dramatically as that last group, but here they are. They're very poetic and very philosophical. Every single snowflake is delicate and unique. You realize this as you search the impound lot for your car. Here's a holiday gift idea. Do you want to know what to get for your middle school children that don't pay attention to you anymore? Sign them up for the Mars mission. During the 2-year space voyage, call them every 3 or 4 weeks on the radio. They will want to hear everything you say. I went to buy a Christmas tree. The tree guy asked, "Will you be putting this up yourself?" I replied, "Don't be disgusting. I'm putting it up in my living room." Holiday games with the family. You know what's the worst time to have a heart attack? When you're playing charades. When writing holiday thank you notes, it's okay to say thanks. It's okay to say thanks a million. But any number in between? I ask myself, why does the snowball keep getting bigger? Then it hits me. And finally, I used to think the brain was the most wonderful organ in the body. Then I remembered who was telling me this. Those are the poems. Very likely in the next week I would have pulled or chucked one of them, replaced it with something else. And it would have been a repeat of the previous year. Nothing really would have changed. No one I know probably would have been in the audience. No real material change for me. But still, I enjoyed being in the New Standard show, and I would have enjoyed being in again. But that's my sad story. So this was my Big Vanilla Thanksgiving podcast. I wish you a happy holiday today. I know you're not going to see this because it's a busy day for you, and you may never see it at all. And that's actually very liberating for me because I don't have to worry about you watching it and making judgments. Bye, everybody.